You're standing in the heart of London. Glass towers pierce the sky. Tourists flood Trafalgar Square. Red buses carve through traffic. But beneath your feet, 10 meters down, there's something else. Something silent. Something buried. Beneath every street, every foundation, every underground station, there are bones. Thousands of them. Layers of streets that no longer exist. Wooden beams preserved in airless mud. Leather shoes from 1350. Rats' nests fossilized in ash. The city you see is a mask. What lies beneath is the truth. And now, for the first time, artificial intelligence has reconstructed what medieval London truly looked like. Not an artist's guess. Not a romantic painting. A data-driven resurrection of the lost city. You're about to walk streets that vanished 700 years ago. This is medieval London, and you're standing inside it now. The year is 1450. You've just passed through Ludgate, one of 7 gated entrances carved into a stone wall that encircles the entire city. The wall is Roman, built over 1,000 years ago, but it still holds. 4 meters high, 2 meters thick, studded with guard towers. London isn't just a city, it's a fortress, a cage. Inside these walls, 50,000 people are compressed into barely 1 square mile. That's denser than modern Mumbai. There are no parks, no open squares, no breathing room, just buildings stacked against buildings, leaning over narrow streets like predators hunching toward prey. You step into the city, and immediately the sky disappears. The street is less than 2 meters wide. You can stretch your arms and touch both sides. Above you, the upper floors of timber-framed houses jut outward. Jettying, they call it, each floor extending further than the one below. By the 4th story, the buildings nearly kiss. Sunlight struggles to reach the ground. At noon, it feels like dusk. The air is thick. Smoke from 10,000 hearth fires merges into a low, greasy fog. There's no chimney system, just holes in thatched roofs. The smell is immediate. Human waste, rotting fish, wet wool, tanning leather, and something metallic you can't quite place. Blood, maybe. The butchers are close. Your boots squelch. The street isn't paved. It's packed earth mixed with straw, dung, and discarded vegetable scraps. Occasionally, you step over a gutter running with brown water. No one seems bothered. A woman empties a chamber pot from a 2nd-story window. She doesn't shout a warning. This is normal. To your left, rising like a clenched fist, is the Tower of London. It wasn't built for beauty. It was built for control. William the Conqueror raised it in 1078, not as a home, but as a statement. I have conquered you. Do not forget. The White Tower, the central keep, looms 30 meters high, its limestone walls visible from across the city. It's a prison, a treasury, an armory, and a place of execution. The upper floors house royal apartments, but the lower chambers hold things no one speaks of. Chains, darkness, screams that don't carry beyond stone. In the courtyard, lions are kept, royal lions, gifts from foreign kings. Their roars echo across the river at night, a reminder that the king commands even beasts. You've heard stories of prisoners thrown to them. You don't know if they're true. You don't ask. You walk east toward the Thames, and there it is, London Bridge, the only crossing, the only way south. A stone structure over 275 meters long, crowded with buildings on both sides. Shops, homes, a chapel in the middle. It's not a bridge, it's a street suspended over water. The river beneath churns brown and thick. Boats cluster near the arches, unloading wool, wine, timber, spices. The air smells of salt and sewage. Gulls scream. Merchants shout prices in 3 languages. But above you, impaled on iron spikes along the southern gatehouse, are human heads. Traitors, rebels, criminals. Their flesh is blackened, eyes gone, picked clean by crows. Some have been there for months. This is the first thing travelers see when entering London from the south. This is the welcome. You turn north, away from the bridge, and the skyline changes. Rising above every rooftop, visible from miles beyond the city walls, is St. Paul's Cathedral. It's not the dome you know. That comes later, after fire devours this version. This St. Paul's is Gothic, angular, severe, impossibly tall. The spire reaches 149 meters into the sky, the tallest structure in England. Taller than any building you've seen. Taller than anything you'll see for centuries. Inside, the nave stretches like a stone cavern. Light filters through stained glass, painting the floor in fractured reds and blues. But this isn't a place of quiet prayer. It's chaos. Merchants conduct business along the aisles. Lawyers meet clients behind pillars. Beggars sleep near the altar. A man is shouting about grain prices. Another is selling ink. In the corner, someone urinates against a column. No one intervenes. The church is public space. Sacred, yes, but also market, courthouse, and shelter. Outside, crowds gather for public announcements. Sometimes riots begin here. But St. Paul's isn't the true power in this city. That belongs to the guilds. You walk west into Cheapside, the commercial heart of medieval London. The street is wider here, almost 6 meters across, and every inch is claimed. Goldsmiths to the south. Mercers selling silk and cloth to the north. Bakers, fishmongers, shoemakers, each trade clustered together, regulated by its guild. The guilds control everything. They set prices. They decide who can work. They enforce quality. Cross them, and you don't work in London. Support them, and you might become rich enough to rival a lord. Some guild masters own more land than bishops. They fund wars. They lend money to kings. When the crown needs silver, it comes here, to Cheapside, hat in hand. The king wears the crown, but the guilds hold the purse. A crowd forms ahead. You push closer. In the center of the street, a wooden platform has been erected. A man is locked in the pillory, his head and hands trapped in wooden boards, body bent forward, immobile. His crime is written on a sign above him. False measure. He sold underweight bread. The guild caught him. Now he'll stand here for 3 hours while the city passes judgment. A woman throws a rotted cabbage. It hits his face. He can't move to wipe it away. A child throws mud, then stones. The crowd thickens. Some laugh. Some watch in silence. The man's face is bleeding now. This is justice. Immediate, public, brutal. No trial took weeks. No lawyer argued. The guild decided. The guild acted. And tomorrow, he'll be free, but ruined. No one will buy from him again. You slip away into the residential lanes behind Cheapside. The houses here are smaller. Wooden frames filled with wattle and daub. Woven sticks packed with mud and straw. The walls are thin. You can hear a baby crying 2 houses down. A couple arguing. Someone coughing, deep and wet. Inside, the rooms are dark. Windows are small, covered with oiled linen or wooden shutters. Glass is for the rich. A single hearth provides heat and light. But the smoke has nowhere to go except up, through cracks in the roof. Your eyes sting within seconds. Furniture is sparse, a table, a chest, straw mattresses on the floor. Entire families sleep in one room. Privacy is a concept that doesn't exist here. At night, when the fire dies, the cold seeps in. In winter, people sleep in their clothes. In summer, the heat is suffocating, the smell unbearable. But this is home. For 50,000 people crammed inside 1 square mile, this is life. And then, September 2nd, 1666, a spark in a bakery on Pudding Lane. The summer has been dry. The wooden houses, packed together, jettying over narrow streets, are perfect kindling. The wind is strong. The fire spreads. By morning, 13 streets are burning. By evening, the flames reach the Thames. For 4 days, London burns. The fire moves faster than people can run. It leaps from roof to roof, fed by timber, thatch, and pitch. The narrow streets become wind tunnels, funneling oxygen into the blaze. Entire blocks ignite in minutes. St. Paul's Cathedral, the indestructible giant, the stone monument that has stood for 6 centuries, burns. The lead roof melts. Molten metal pours into the streets like rivers. The heat is so intense that the stone itself cracks, exploding in fragments. The spire collapses. The nave caves in. The cathedral that took 200 years to build is destroyed in 6 hours. 87 churches are consumed. 13,000 homes vanish. The Guildhall, the seat of civic power, is gutted. London Bridge, crammed with shops and houses, is stripped to its stone skeleton. The flames stop only when they reach the Tower of London, where soldiers blow up entire rows of buildings to create a fire break. By September 6th, the fire dies. What's left is ash, square miles of it. The city within the walls is gone. Only the outline remains. Stone foundations, blackened walls, the jagged stumps of what used to be towers. Medieval London has been erased. You're standing in modern London again. The glass towers are back, the red buses, the tourists. But now you know what's beneath. Not just bones, though there are thousands, but the memory of a city that no longer exists. A city of jetted timber houses leaning over streets you could touch across. A city of lions in the tower and heads on the bridge. A city where the guilds were kings and the cathedral was a marketplace. The fire took the buildings, but the streets remain. Cheapside is still there. The path of the old wall is still visible if you know where to look. London Bridge still crosses the Thames, though it's been rebuilt a dozen times. The tower still looms. St. Paul's still rises, but not the one that burned. You walk these streets every day, and every day you walk over graves. Artificial intelligence didn't just reconstruct medieval London, it resurrected it. Using archaeological data, surviving maps, tax records, building dimensions, population density, and fire damage reports, AI has pieced together the most accurate visualization we've ever had. Not an artist's fantasy, not a historian's guess. A model built from evidence. You've just walked through it. You've smelled the smoke and heard the river. You've seen the heads on the bridge and the lions in the tower. You've stood in the shadow of a cathedral that no longer exists and watched a city burn that was gone 350 years before you were born. This wasn't a story. This was a place. 50,000 people lived here, slept in smoke-filled rooms, worked in guild halls, prayed in St. Paul's, watched executions, bought bread in Cheapside, survived plagues, raised children, and then, in 4 days, it was over. But here's the strange part. After the fire, London rebuilt, bigger, wider, with brick instead of wood, with streets planned instead of tangled. The medieval city was gone, but London continued. The bones stayed beneath. The streets kept their names. The bridge was rebuilt. The tower remained. And life went on, layer upon layer, century after century, until the past disappeared completely. Except it didn't. Because now, with AI, with data, with reconstruction, we can go back. We can stand in a street that hasn't existed for 700 years and feel the weight of it. We can see what was lost. We can understand what it meant to live in a city of 50,000 people trapped inside 1 square mile, where the cathedral touched the clouds and the bridge was lined with severed heads. Medieval London is gone, but it's still here, beneath your feet, waiting.